Shout an emotion.
Horror.
Horny. Could be the same.
Oh, yes.
I thought you were going with horror, and I was like, that's what I was going to say.
Is horny an emotion? I feel it frequently.
Horny is
I think-
definitely an emotion.
Yeah, that's probably on the scale somewhere in that. You know, when you start improv class and there's like the scale of emotions.
Yes.
I feel like the first thing people do when they get to improv class is talk about how horny they are.
It's because they all are.
I know.
It's because actors don't get laid.
Improv adults are the theater kids of yesterday.
I heard something recently that was, have you listened to my podcast is the new will you come to my improv show? And
Oh, God. I know.
Oh, my God.
I know. I literally...
Can I also like throw in like sketch and stand up in that too? Because that's also...
Actually, I love that. I want to elaborate more. I do want to say that I always preface, like, whenever I meet someone and they're like, what do you do? And if I say I have a podcast, I always go, I have a podcast, but like, it's good, I swear.
you have to lead with it.
Yeah, like, I swear it's good, I swear.
We have more than 5 listeners.
I actually just remember that I have a crazy story of like a big fight that I'm in right now with my building.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, I live under an HOA, and it is ruining my life right now.
Yeah.
We're going under this huge dispute right now. There's more details to come, but fear not, I am going to win this fight.
It's not the old man that I told off at the surprise party, was it?
No, but it's more old white people.
Okay.
okay,
It's
yeah,
always them.
It is always
them.
It is always them. Anyway, again, I will continue to update this, I'm sure, throughout the next couple episodes because it is just a nightmare fight that we're going through. But we showed up to appeal what they're trying to fight us on right now. And we basically talked to the entirety of the board. And when I was leaving, one of the board members was like, Arasha, what do you do? And I went, oh, I'm an actor. And they all went, oh.
Oh my God, I love that.
And I was like, I'll just be leaving now, thank you.
Well, I'm sorry that's happening to you.
Oh, yes, more on that later, but all you need to know is I hate the HOA and HOA hates actors.
And period. Good morning, Los Angeles. We have a guest.
Yes, oh my gosh, please,
Hi.
everybody welcome Sam Valentine.
Hi, guys. I love being on other people's podcasts.
Yay,
It's the
how are you
best.
doing?
I'm so good.
Yeah?
It's 7:30 at night and we're recording a podcast. This is a whirlwind.
Yeah.
No, it's whack, actually. This is the first time we've done like a night shoot, really.
I think so. We had a few flops in season 1 that we tried to do like a night shoot in, and we were like, let's not.
I love calling things flops.
We flopped big flop hard in season 1 often.
Flopping flopperton.
Did you publish the flop?
No. So we actually filmed like literally, and so you have a podcast. So
Yeah.
do you sometimes flop?
Yeah, and I will still put it out.
You put the flops out.
Yeah, except for there's only one episode I didn't publish, and it's because my guests clearly did not want to be there.
Oh,
It was
really?
really bad.
Oh my God! Then why did they show up?
It was they thought they were doing me a favor, and it was a whole. And I finished, and it was a thing where at first, when you first start your podcast, people kind of do you favors. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Come to my kitchen, and here's my microphone. It's 2017. You don't even know what a podcast is,
Right.
Sure.
And now it's a little different. Now people are like, "Can I get my person on your podcast?" And I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk.
But yeah, the two guests were just not. They left, and the person who was there with me was like, I don't know if they like you. I was like, we cannot air this.
That's like insane, and I kind of respect the person that told you that.
That is so funny.
Is it me or did they hate you?
Which, like, this is the one space where I can surround myself with people who really like me.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
We had a few flops in season 1 and we did not publish them, but the truth be told is it was our first few episodes because we just didn't know what, like we would sit down and be like, hello, people of Earth.
Right.
Like we didn't know what we were talking about.
Right,
And
yeah.
we were like, oh my God, the first time we filmed our first when we filmed our first episode that never went out, my tummy started hurting.
Right.
And I literally was like, Arasha, I'm going to shit my pants, I think.
I think we have that on camera. You were like, I'm really sorry to do this, but I have to go poop.
Okay, so here's what you're going to do with this episode because you have it. First of all, when I started podcasting, we didn't put it on camera because that's how old I am. And now that you have it, what you do is when you start a season where you have like a ton of episodes, the last episode is you guys watching and reacting to your first episode?
I can hardly watch season 1.
I
I
know.
literally watch episodes and I'm like, why do you guys watch us?
I go back to the thumbnails and I'm like, who made that?
Literally, like I'll see things and I'll
think
be
you
like, you
should do it."
stupid woman.
Right. We definitely have a lot of growing to do. But Sam has done, we were talking about this, like
Oh, too many.
10 seasons of
It's
One
like
Broke Actress, which if you
300,
haven't checked that out, you guys, like I am personally a fan of One Broke Actress. It's just such a great, like, industry specific, like, behind the scenes kind of look at what it means to be an actor. And I just find it so interesting, like, not only if you are an actor, but if you're also on the outside. I just think there's so many wrong assumptions about what it's like to live as a working actor and what that means. And so much of it, I think, is debunked on One Broke Actress. So
Thanks.
we really are very grateful to have you today.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I love this stuff. I've been doing it since 2016, so I love podcasting. I miss doing it with other people all the time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Solo YOLOing is tough. You get
Solo
really good
YOLO. I like
at
that.
talking to yourself.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel I say like 5 words and I get sick of myself.
I am so sick of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
It's astounding. I'll record a regular podcast and I'll record a Patreon podcast and I'm like, I don't want to look at myself.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
got to record an Instagram story and it's like, who
Yeah.
wants this?
Right.
Several of you, thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Scene.
There's there's a humbleness to that though, right? Like it's kind of like a testament to your love of the game because it's like not rooted in ego, but perhaps just like the adoration that you have for media making and talking about your passions.
Craft.
Where a lot of people, I think, like so much of today's media is rooted in ego.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Thank
it
you.
feels egocentric. Because it's like, here's my face talking. Here's a clip of me on Instagram being whatever. Here's, it's how do you, I don't know how you, it's hard to take yourself out of that.
I'm laughing at somebody saying that's interesting and you saying thank you to that. You just like share
That's
share
interesting.
something and they're like, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I do have interesting thoughts.
Yeah, thanks. Came up with that one on my own.
Right. But you're so right. Like it is something that is of humility and at the same time too, I think sometimes that kind of behavior, which I'm also guilty of, can sometimes be like an insecurity of am I enough? Right? Am I presenting like I feel this all the time too. Maybe you guys have felt this, right? On the pods of like getting in front of camera and talking and then being like, was I funny enough? Was I cool enough? Did I come off as creative and fun and interesting? And it's kind of just like you're doing this because it is you that you're putting out there. You don't necessarily have to be funny or like great or anything. You just got to be yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think having that why is really important. Like, what are you doing it for? Like, is there
Totally.
something that's a takeaway? Like, you guys probably, like, why did you start this podcast?
Yeah. Which is ultimately
I'm going to make you
fun.
answer this on air.
Right. I don't know if we've told this story before, but
It's hard because I feel like it maybe went into like one of the flop episodes, like or whatever. But the origin of the podcast is actually funny.
Yeah.
It's because I had a commercial audition, and it was like 2 like podcast people, like comedy rooted. And so I called Arasha and I was like, "Will you do this audition with me?" And it literally was just like for like a podcast, and that was like it. And they didn't give us any type of like protocol as to what we needed to talk about, but they were like, talk about something for like a little
or
while.
it was worst dates, right?
Yeah, like
Or
it
something
was like
that.
dates and like anyways, we ended up being super raunchy and inappropriate and hilarious.
Hilarious. We were so funny and interesting.
And we were just like, okay, perfect. We didn't book the role, but we were like, wait, should we have a podcast?
Right. Like immediately after doing the audition, we were like, something's here. There's some chem.
Yeah, and we had been friends prior and like
Right.
always laughing and yapping and stuff, so we were like, might as well try to like get an audience in on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thus Spitball was born
Yeah.
in a weird way through acting.
How about you? How
Love that.
did you like come to decide that this was something you wanted to pursue? And
Yeah. And before podcasts were like trendy, you were way before all of that.
Because I hate typing. And I was,
real.
it was literally a lazy choice. I was talking to actors. I started a blog. That was the very 2016 thing to do.
Yeah.
One Broke Actress started as a blog. And I came home. Long story short is that I got flown overseas to film a movie. and I lived overseas. But the experience
Fancy.
itself sounds so fancy.
Yeah.
The experience itself was very messy.
Oh, I love that.
You know, it's a non-union movie. Everyone's
Yep.
doing the best they can. We're living the place we're shooting. It's a whole lots of things, right? And we're all just getting by and doing the best we can. One room in the house had Wi-Fi.
Oh, how is that even possible?
It was the season of Game of Thrones with like the battle of the brothers or whatever. I can't remember what the scene is called. Anyway, I had to watch them the next day because someone would download them overnight. It was a whole thing on like an illegal IP address. Anyway, that's not what this is about. I came home from that and everyone was like, "You made it! Oh my God, you started a movie!" And I was like, "I don't know if this is going to get made. I don't know if what it's gonna look like. I don't know what's gonna happen." And I was getting all these congrats and I had all these feelings about, I don't have a job anymore. I lost my job when I left to go do this movie.
Yeah.
And what do I do with myself now? And how do I explain that everyone's like, "You're so happy, right? You've made it." I'm like, I don't know how to explain to you that I am going on unemployment for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
And it's not enough money. And like, thank God my boyfriend at the time, now husband, was able to like help between the two of us. Because I was destitute and I posted on Facebook looking for a part-time job, and my managers at the time called me and were like, "Take that down.
Oh.
We can't have you telling people we're selling you as a leading lady now. We can't have you saying on your your Facebook that you are trying to find work."
Wow.
What?
Yes,
Wow.
they called me and I was so shocked and so confused, and I said, "Okay, so how do I find money then?"
Right.
Because I get all my best jobs through word of mouth.
Yes.
If you want me to like hide this, you want me to hide the fact that I'm looking for work because I just came back from this movie, and I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be pretending right now
I
that I'm
see.
like I'm a leading lady
The
now."
image.
Yes, and they wanted me to fake this thing, and I, in true fashion, said, "I'm gonna go the opposite way." And so I started onebrokeactress.com, and I was like, "Here's what it's actually like to be a working actor." And I just made a movie and I don't know if it's going to get made. I'm on unemployment. I'm supposed to be feeling all these feelings. I have a lot of free time. I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm poor. All these things. And
I love that.
so it started out of that. And then I started talking to other actors for articles, and I would record our conversations and I would go back and transcribe them.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
we didn't have programs that would turn words into written text.
God.
Wow.
Back in the
Shout out.
day.
Wow.
And then I realized at the time I had another podcast with a friend that was just fun. And it was called Not According to Plan, and we just bantered. It was so fun.
Cute.
I miss it all the time. He ended up moving to Seattle. He won the Amazing Race while we did the podcast together.
Holy
Whoa.
shit.
Yes. It was so cool. It was so random. I came back from this movie. He came back from the Amazing Race. And we started a podcast just to chat and like to see what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know he won the whole time we're recording.
Oh my God.
It was so cool. And then I got to he won. The podcast had like a moment because it was like his thing.
Of course.
It was really fun. He ended up taking his winnings and buying a house in Seattle and moving to Seattle.
Period.
Go off, Kim.
Yeah. So Scott is the best. So he ended up doing that thing. But in the time I was like, oh, I could have a podcast that's this for the acting thing. So I started that separately. And then it just grew from there because I got tired of writing stuff out. So that's where it all came from. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I actually knew the origin of it, but I
Yeah.
admire that so much that
Yeah.
you were just willing to put that out there because you're so right. I feel like we were talking about this with a previous guest that we had on who was also in a band, Vince. And we had this whole conversation about the same like that image, this facade that you're trying to put on of like, oh, I'm an actor, I'm successful, or I'm a musician, and I don't have to work another job because of how famous and successful I am.
Nope.
And it's like most of us have more than one job out here.
This is the hill I will die on. Nobody just does one thing. Everyone, all the actors you see, they also own property. They have their own companies. They do collabs on social media. Like Shay Mitchell owns Base Bag. There's a
Right.
reason
And
that she
thank
has
God.
that company.
Right.
Right? Because she's making more. I guarantee you, and I've done no research, so take this TikTok.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that she makes more money from that than she has from Pretty Little Liars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. You're right. Like, and it's just it's honestly just the thing that you have to do. It's like, yes, you have to survive, but also and like past just existing though, it's like, yes, you're an actor, but now utilize that and become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? Like open up your business or have some sort of like side hustle or some sort of like extra job that's going to continue to funnel money. Because you're right. Like, you do a movie and it's like, yeah, maybe it's a big fat paycheck, but like, how many times does that paycheck come in?
Yeah.
Or is it ever going to actually come? A lot of the payments deferred too.
Yeah.
And I think like I admire your transparency because I think it's up to people in the modern day, the current day, to be transparent about things because it helps the next person.
Totally.
And I think that is true in like every kind of realm, right? Like it's like a lot of times I talk a lot about my sobriety, and so I've gotten the question a lot where people are like, do you feel like you're putting too much out there? And I'm like, no, because it was the people that were transparent about their struggles that helped me get help. And it's the you know, person out there right now that wants to grow up and move to Hollywood but has no idea what it'll look like that can benefit from the people that are here now being transparent so they know how to equip themselves accordingly and they don't move out here and have this big shock and feel like a failure when the reality is it's like we're all working hard.
I love that. Yeah. And that just like translates to social media too, right? We were just talking about that like what you're seeing on your screens can be so staged that it's hard to discern if that's accurate or if that's real. But if you're leading with honesty and just being like, this is who I am and this is completely the truth and just being honest like that, it's going to help so many people.
And it takes a lot of pressure off you at the same time because I don't know how I could go out in the world if I was trying to be someone I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I was trying to be someone I'm not on social media in like this big league life, quote unquote, like at auditions, like I'm going to go to this audition. You're going to make me pretend like I'm some big thing. And then I'm going to go get in my dirty Subaru.
Right.
Like who am I kidding here? And as a person who's chronically online too, I wanted to be able to go into Trader Joe's and run into other actors who were like, oh my gosh, you're just like I saw on the internet.
Yeah.
Like that's the best compliment. When people talk to me, they're like, you're exactly what I thought you'd be. This is so awesome. I'm like, that's so cool. Like that is so cool because I think people front, especially in this town, they front so hard. And I like some nice things. You know what I mean? I'd love to have a fancier car one day. I'd love to have a fancier house. And I'm going to share that all and we'll see who comes on the journey when that gets crazy.
Hell yeah.
But like that is... I just want to show up as who I actually am because I don't want anyone to see me out and be like, oh my God, that's that. Like, there's some skincare guru on the internet. And a friend of mine saw her at Trader Joe's and she was like, she has the worst skin I've ever seen. And I was like, this is major.
Yeah.
Major.
And it's like, it's bad for the mental to expect us to like play this part and be this fake version of ourselves because you're right. Like, it's like if I put out like this deeply inauthentic part of, or portrayal of myself and I can't keep up with that because it's not who I am. So it's like, why would I go out there and try to make every casting director like, you know, I can still show up and try to be impressive and professional, but it's like I don't have to like give this illusion that I'm the most famous person because I'm not. And if I'm trying to keep up with that, it's unrealistic and it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Sam, have you gotten recognized at all, like out in public, and how do you feel overall about recognition and fame and kind of being attached to One Broke Actress?
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It happens in LA because you go out to a restaurant, the chances of your server being an actor is like 1 in 2.
Right,
it's a pretty high percentage. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it. Listen to me. If you see me out, please say hi. No matter what, if I'm having a date night, if I'm with friends, if I'm with my parents.
Right.
You know what people talk about who've like come into town for one night? The fact that somebody behind the table was like, are you One Broke Actress? I just want to say thank you. Like the people who visited me, who've seen like my cool credits or whatever, that's the shit that they take home.
Yeah.
Like and I was like, that's so cool because I have a friend who was involved with a very famous actress and they parted ways, but I was around them once when we were hiking and some people who I took their picture at some bridge and afterwards they came up to me and they were like, I didn't want to say anything, but we knew you from the podcast. We think you're great. And my friends saw this and they said, I just want to tell you, I think that's way cooler than anything I've seen because it's you they like. It's you they care about and it's your work. It's not somebody else's project that you were in. It's all you. And I was like, wow. So I love it. I love it. And actors, people who people who listen to your podcast are your people.
Totally.
You know?
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I think that's honestly such a refreshing perspective because I feel the same way. I love getting
you get
to meet-
recognized.
I mean, it's wonderful. I think it's just kind of like, thank you so much. Like I don't know a situation where I wouldn't want somebody to come over and say, hey, Arasha. Like I would always welcome it. I know some people get bothered by it, or maybe they have had it so much, or, people cross the line. I totally understand that. But I feel the same way. I'm like, if I'm on a Zoom meeting, come by and say hi still. Like I will put them on mute, I am
not
so with you.
I am not there yet where there's too much fame, like too much actor fame.
Right.
No. Please. I love it. It's the best.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That's great. And I'm really happy for you too that's
Thanks.
happening for you because I mean that's exactly what I started with as well. One Broke Actress is incredibly helpful for people.
Thank you.
I also think that's really flattering what that person said to you about it being like, it's just a really flattering compliment of being like, that's all you. And like the people are loving it.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
It sits with me to this day.
I did, like, when I followed you the other day, it was like Arasha and 50 other people that I knew, like, follow you. And I was like, let's go.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
So
I love that.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Sam, I want to hear too more about like, not that in your story you were necessarily comparing your life to this other actress's, but I want to hear from all of us too, just like, how do you deal with comparison and competition among other actors, actresses, like just everybody alike in the industry? I feel like that is something that is definitely also very saturated in LA. Like a lot of, well, they're doing this and I hate them for this and I'm judging this person. And I am curious to hear how you guys deal with comparison.
The more I do this type of stuff of hanging out with other actors and having conversations with them and being a part of their lives, the less of it I feel. It gets so normalized. It gets so and it's really easy to fall into it when you're stuck at home and doing self-tapes and you don't like speak with other actors. You just see maybe their social media posts, or you just see people's deadline announcements, or it's really easy to feel like there's not enough. And the more I've invested in community and the more times I've spent, coming to do someone's podcast or having someone on my podcast or something, the more I feel like there's so much work and there's so many types of people and there's so many nuances. And the more I see other people succeed, the happier it makes me. Now, there have been times where I've seen people, I know so many people who got to this town like years and years after me, and I watch them just like shoot for the stars. Like they are just like, they get it. Like they just book the next job. And I know so many people who came and who were like big fans of One Broke Actress, and I've watched them quote unquote surpass me in this business in so many ways. But to me, I'm like, there's days where I think like, what am I missing? Did I miss the train? And I have to talk myself out of that. Prozac helps. Anti-anxiety and depression medication helps a great deal. A home life helps. Financial stability helps. And figuring out, I try to work my mindset to say, like, if someone came to me and said, I love what you're doing with your actor podcast and I love how you help actors, and then they are having a magnificent career, that has to I have to take that and be like, oh, I'm a part of their journey. That's so
Totally.
cool. It's only a matter of time till we're all on set together. I have to believe that, or else like I couldn't still be in this town.
Right.
It's so hard. So I have days where it's like I shut down. When it gets really bad, I'm like, I can't look at any other stuff. I have to look at my life. I have to get out of the business. I have to go pet a dog. I have to go talk to my neighbor who's a normal person. I have to do something else. But I have to talk myself out of it too at the same time.
That's a good attitude.
Because it happens. What do you do?
I feel like I do feel like there's a big part of me that has retired from comparing myself to other people, because at the end of the day, I try to remember that like my superpower is that I'm me and their superpower is that they're them, and no one is like alike, and we all bring something to the table. It's like I'm more so I definitely really don't struggle a lot with being like, I wish I was them, as much as I'm like, I wish like these opportunities were like I was in the right position to be receiving similar opportunities.
Love that phrasing. Yeah.
If that makes sense, because it's like there's nothing about me is going to change. I'm always going to be who I am, as I always have been. So like I can only work hard to like better my journey and stuff. But I do sometimes like someone that I look at like all the time is like Rachel Sennett, right? Like I love her, and I'm like, she's kind of similar in age, and I'm like, I really want to be doing like what she's doing. Like I like that work. I wish I was being presented with like opportunities to like prove the work ethic that I have, that I believe could be similar to this person I admire. You know, but I think there's a quote, maybe you'll know it. I think it was like Emma Stone or someone that said like everyone has their perfect role. If you don't get one, it's because it wasn't yours to begin with.
Yeah.
And I know that's like hard to kind of like come to terms with when you really want something, but I genuinely don't think, it's not that I think I'm like above comparing myself. It's just that I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
so
like,
real.
Whatever.
So real. Yeah, it's kind of like maybe at the beginning you're feeling that sense of jealousy, or you're seeing those photos and you're like, well, they're on set. Why am I not on set? That kind of vibe. And then eventually, you just kind of adopt the mindset of like, everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah.
Literally, like the way that like, whenever it's funny too, the most like amount of cameos that I get, like, or the most popular topic that people want me to talk about is acting. And people are kind of like, I want to come to California and I want to act. Can you tell me what to do? And I'm like, honey, I'll tell you when I figure it out.
Yeah. It's like,
you can listen to the One Broke Actress podcast.
Right. And I am directing them to Sam. I'm like, simply, there is no like, move to California, and then once you have a degree, and then you take this class, and then you do this course, and then you do this workshop, and then you get this. Like, there really is no direct pipeline, and I think that helps me, I think, walk myself out of it, because then you're just kind of like, well, if I did that opportunity, I wouldn't get the next opportunity that this person got because I'm not them.
yeah.
Like, it needs to be their specific set of circumstances, and that's why they're on that journey, and mine is different. Mine is a different windy road.
Yeah, and I hope this doesn't make me sound bitter, but like we are like truly living in the age of nepotism right now, like in a very big way. And I see it all the time, like especially because it's like I found myself in like circumstances like around like, you know, like actors or being like in and around and stuff. And like when I find out like the reality of how they were given an opportunity, I'm always like, oh, well, now I feel less bad. Because again, I'm not in the position to have been given that opportunity all the time. But
That's big.
It's about like making the opportunities for yourself. And I really truly believe that in life, it's like if you show up with professionalism and you are a likable like a person, you're going to go far with just that.
Yeah. Sure. And when you take the timeline out of it, that releases a lot of that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like that timeline of thinking, well, if I don't know about you guys, but when I pictured my career, I didn't really picture much past like 28. I didn't picture myself being 40 and going, God forbid 40.
Right.
I'm pushing close to 40 these days.
You look wonderful.
Thank you so
I was
much.
like that.
Honest
I'm
dermatology
truly
and
shocked.
Encino. I'm mid 30s still, but you know, I just like to preface it. I'm like edging it off at the back.
It's hot.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. People take you so much more seriously when the number starts with a 3. It's so much
That's
better.
what took me
saying.
when I was 3 years old. People were like, "Put her in charge."
Yeah,
Right. And
She's
now
the
we
boss.
have Mordecai.
She's the best. I saw his TikTok and he's hilarious.
He was here earlier and he's amazing.
He's literally our king.
Yeah.
He's our boss.
Kids should say more things on microphones.
Right. It's the jump from the 3-year-old to the 30s, and then everything in between is a mess.
I'm pretty lost between 3 and 30.
Right.
And now mid 30s, like things are starting to make sense. But
Got it.
timeline, got it. Came back.
Yes.
My ADHD medication is like long gone at 7:45. The timeline period, I felt like I had to succeed in my 20s because actors they're famous in their 20s. That's when you like get the things and do the things. And I don't know where they got that idea from. Probably from only watching CW or something.
Right.
But I don't know where a lot of those actors are now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's when I release the timeline of the need to, I need to do this now because time's running out, and instead built myself a foundation of a life in Los Angeles and like meet new people and like love the things I do. It's been a lot easier to say, oh, this year was really slow for auditions and last year was the strike. So all right, well, let's see what the next couple years bring instead of this like vice grip on like the next thing has to be a thing or else what a waste.
Yeah. Gosh, you guys, you're so right. Like, I love what both of you said too, because it's like, that is definitely I think a very common thing that a lot of actors are saying, like, I need to make it in my 20s or I need to be like young and super famous. And it's like, okay, there are like a very small amount of very successful actors that are in their 20s. And that's because they started when they were in their 10s.
Yes, they started at 3 when we were all smart.
Right, right. They started at a young age, and it's kind of like that whole idea of like an overnight success. And it's like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Nobody is an overnight success. I mean, unless you get like viral on like a video and then, you're on Good Morning America, sure. But
yeah, but then what?
Then what?
Yeah.
It's like being viral these days is like, who cares?
that is an interesting thing too.
I actually don't want it because I had 1 or 2 videos go viral on Instagram. I need someone to like really bring me into TikTok. I can't get it going. I don't know why.
We got you.
I know. I think we
Yeah,
need to have
yeah.
a conversation. But I really hated it because going viral sounds cool because it's like, all these people saw my stuff. They're not the right people. They're not the people who you want to come see your stuff. Like, I didn't make all this actor content to serve, Janice in Milwaukee, who the worst one was when I had a video and it was me in front of I did a screenshot of my Google Calendar, which was like morning workout, dog walks, meeting, blah, 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 blah. And I had my schedule in front of me. And it was some sound that was popular at the time that was like, what? And it was something to the effect of like, they say actors are just lazy and have tons of free time. And you can see that my schedule is pretty booked. Is it booked with a lot of things that I create? Yeah. But that was the point of the reel, was that I make my day and I've made my own work and I build my own businesses and whatever. And all the comments rained in of like, I would have killed for this day. Oh my God. I would love to have time to work out and walk my dogs, blah, blah, blah. And it was just not the vibe. And then, as much as you can say like, let the haters hate, when they come hating, it still hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah. Have you guys had that happen? Have you gone viral and had people shit on you?
Yeah, we recently did actually. We had a clip go viral. And there were a ton of people in the comment. Well, it's funny because we had some fans being like, why is everybody hating? Like,
wait, which one was this? Because it's like, we've had a couple. I'll tell you what, it's always just like men who are like, when did women start getting rights to the microphone?
Exactly. No, women can buy mics now.
I guess women can speak freely. But
we let them get checking accounts and everything went away.
Literally, it's always like, and it's so funny. I think we talked about this on an episode recently because like, I'll just like, we'll make the content and it's a collaborative deal, and then we put it out in the world, and then I don't touch the Spitball account until it's time to do the next upload, and then I'll check on one, or she'll text me and be like, check out how this is doing, and it's like, sometimes the numbers were like, hey, the numbers are great, and then we check the comments, and they're like, stupid dumb lady.
And we're like, and thank you for the engagement.
Yeah,
thank you for the reach.
That's usually it. I will say that first of all, I wanted to say this before we get too far from something that you just said about looking past like a certain age and lacking that. I once had a teacher of mine at Playhouse West tell me that it's often a misconception that we view success like it's a tangible destination. Like we're on a bus that we're just going to like arrive there and get off. And it's like, that's just not how it is. Like, it's like, you just keep going.
I'm quoting Miley Cyrus here. There's always going to be another mountain.
It's the climb.
I'm not even kidding you guys. I swear I listen to The Climb once a week.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating when I
good
say that.
lyrics.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And it's genuinely a reminder of, yes, you are going to accomplish the next thing, but then you're going to look for the next thing.
Yes.
Like how many times have you guys like set a goal of like, okay, I really want to book a co-star. And then you book a co-star and you're like, I need a guest star. And you just keep going to the next thing. And you don't ever look back and you're like, wait a minute, remember when I wanted to start a podcast?
Yeah.
Like you just start doing the things, and then once you have actually set foot in them, you're like, well, now that I've done it, it's not anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And then you're the first person to make it small.
Yeah.
Like when, when people are like, oh, that's so cool, you booked that show. You're like, yeah, it was just a co-star. Whereas 10 years ago, I'd have been like, it's a clothes job.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're the first person to make it so small. Like when people compliment anything I do, I'm like, yeah, but like, I mean, I have such a small following. It's just like a little niche thing. And like, why do we do this? Why do we? Is this like a woman thing?
Yeah.
Do
I'm
dudes
sure.
do this? I don't feel like dudes do
Oh
this.
no,
as
they
much.
blow it up. They have a follower and a half, and they're
They're
like,
like,
"I am God. Let me
yeah.
run for
For
president."
sure. That's how we got our president.
Literally.
Unfortunately, we are living in that reality.
Literally.
Joe Rogan helped elect the
Oh,
president.
my
That's
gosh.
real though. Like this medium has like so much weight, and like the words you say have so much weight, and it's just very interesting.
Absolutely. I think we all are definitely guilty of that, of, magnifying our shortcomings and minimizing our accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially women, to make other people in the room more comfortable, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like I think back on like other friendships or like relationships that I've had where it's just like when you have this like success or accomplishments or even just like a determined attitude, it threatens other people. It makes them feel bad. And then they're like, I can't be around this. And you're like, well, good riddance.
It's because everyone's always like thinking about each other, and it's like you can't take pride in your work without being cocky, and you can't be humble without being super like degrading to yourself.
Yep.
Or what's the word? Not degrading, but deprecating.
Yes.
It's like it's hard to walk like a healthy medium, and that's why I said like in the beginning of this episode being kind of like when people are like, oh, you have a podcast, and I'm like, yes, but it's good.
Right.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be like, yeah, I have a podcast, what about it? But I'm like, yeah, you should check it out. Like, I enjoy it. And
Right.
I do take pride in what we do here.
Yeah, you should.
But I'm not gonna like,
Yeah. It is an interesting line, I think, that we cross, and it's definitely a lot of pressure, I think, to say the right thing and act accordingly. And you're right, like, it's a toss-up of always being humble and being proud. Like, which one is going to make you feel the most confident and also express yourself in the most confident way that isn't going to turn off other people?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a people pleaser kind of mentality that we live as actors. Yeah.
I deal with it all the time. Earlier, you were like, oh, I like your nails. And I was like, oh, God, they need to get done so bad. That was the first thought I had. And instead, I was like, thank you. Right?
Yeah.
You got to peel it back. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, it's a process. But I think it's so, if we can get through that, I know so many actors and social media people who don't share their wins. And I'm like, you built this whole audience. Like, let us be excited for you. Don't just give us the drama. Like, don't give us a breakup. Like, let us buy yourself a cookie cake when you get 10,000 downloads. Like, do the thing, you know? I skipped over so many things. So I was like, well, yeah, but it's not as much as so-and-so. Or it's like, it's only, I can't wait to I need to get myself a cookie cake. Everyone
Get
should
yourself a cookie
paint
cake.
a thing on it, post it on do the thing. Because like life happens so fast that like these little things. Doesn't it
I
sound
love
so
cookie
good right
cake.
now?
I literally love it.
Nobody gets it enough. Do you remember Mrs. Fields in the
Yes,
mall?
I
Oh, my
remember Mrs.
God.
Fields. Where are samples these days?
No,
one gives out
actually.
samples anymore.
Yeah,
Does Costco
wait.
do that?
Huh?
Does Costco
I think
do that?
I don't know. I can't get in that club.
I don't go.
That's Sam's Club. That's Sam's.
Sam doesn't go to Sam's Club either.
Yeah.
You need a lot of storage space in an apartment for that. I just don't have
Absolutely.
that.
Have you ever had crumble?
I haven't.
Those
Wait,
are
it's-
crazy cookies.
That shit makes me bust.
Are they actually that good? Because I think of Sprinkles cupcakes, and people used to love Sprinkles cupcakes, and I'm like, it's not that good.
No sprinkles. I don't know. Don't they have vending machines?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
really?
getting crumble out of a vending machine.
No.
I enjoy it. There was a point in my life when me and my roommates were doing, because it's different flavors every week.
That's how they get you.
Yes. And so we were like doing like the weekly crumble like taste test, and then I realized that if you eat one cookie, it's like enough calories to sustain you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
wait.
Because those are like, it's like,
They sound awesome.
you've
Yeah.
heard of like chocolate chip, but like they will do like, okay, this cookie is chocolate chip, but we've built a race car track around it, and we have go-karts, and in the middle
Yeah.
you can get concessions, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll
and you
get that one.
and you get 3 wishes.
I gotta go to this
No,
place.
it's crazy.
wild.
How big are they?
They're like this
They
big.
they can be pretty big, yeah.
Now they're having like little cakes and stuff. There was one time I went to Six Flags, and directly after I went to Olive Garden, then Crumble. It was the craziest day of my life.
Dude,
Garden is
where did you put all that?
So good.
Toilet.
Hell yes.
I have some questions for you. I have worked on so many bad sets.
Oh my God, we were just talking about some nightmare sets too.
I've worked on so many bad sets, and I feel like as women, oftentimes too, it's like it's kind of what we were just like unironically talking about, where it's like we're conditioned to be like, don't speak up and like just be quiet and do your job or whatever.
Yep.
And I feel that so much of like mistreatment that I've gotten on set has been because I did not have the tools and resources to feel like I could advocate for myself in like male dominated film spaces. But outside of just even that, have you ever found yourself like on a set where you're like, why am I being treated like this? How do I advocate for myself? I'm uncomfortable. And what did you do?
Oof. Should I tell the story I just told you?
I think that's a helpful story. Unless you have like another like nightmare set story. I think anything kind of qualifies.
So, yes. Are you in the union yet?
No.
Okay, great. They do get better.
Okay.
But
It gets better.
Yeah.
But not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because it is still male dominated. I've yet to be on a set that's heavily female. Even for like print shoots and everything, it's still. And as an actor, we always feel like especially because I think all of us in this room are not people we're not series regulars yet. Yet, ladies.
Yet.
And when you go to them, then you still feel like you're a guest in someone else's house. So like you're going to put your shoes where they belong. You're not going to, I really didn't want to take my shoes off, but you said take your shoes off. So like it's someone else's house, you're going to follow their rules.
Yeah.
But there's a line where it becomes, to me, I'm like, at what point am I being taken advantage of? And so it started, I get weird about, there's a couple things I have with the set. It's like, I don't have enough credits for this like chutzpah, but I will not bring my own wardrobe.
Oh, wow.
I just won't do it.
Wait, I love that.
I am obsessed with this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And if there's a commercial fitting, like a commercial or something like that, if there's a fitting beforehand and they ask me, hey, can you bring a couple pairs of jeans that you feel comfortable in or tennis shoes or something? Sure. But I will not bring a suitcase to set. I will not bring a duffel bag to set. One, it's a hazard. I am there all day. There is no protection. Commercial sets don't have trailers a lot of the times.
Right.
So then you just have your stuff sitting out. Like, you can get your stuff stolen. In extra work, I know that's oftentimes what you're asked to do. But I didn't like how I felt doing extra work. I know some people love it. They make their SAG insurance doing it. Great. I love that for you. I love that it's an option. It's not for me. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel valued. I stopped doing it after I got understood what a set was. And bringing a suitcase to set makes me feel like an extra.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm not being valued. It makes me feel like there's a whole wardrobe department. They have 10,000 racks of clothes. I know what their budget is.
Yeah.
And I am a lucky person. I am a straight-sized person. So you have clothes that fit me.
Yeah.
You have my measurements. I don't bring my own clothes to set.
Wow.
And that is my like very small little like, if I had a writer, this is what it would say right now.
I love that.
But
it makes sense too. I feel like I've been on a couple sets where I've been paid a wardrobe fee.
Yes, and
when
you
I
do
just
get
show
paid.
up for my it's just like a personality thing. I'm just showing up like as me, and they just have an extra bump for a wardrobe fee because I'm just wearing what I'm wearing.
Which is now that you're in SAG, because you told me you just joined.
Yeah,
you do get a bump when you wear your own clothes.
Wow.
Because you're wearing them all day. So it's like you get like $20 for wearing your own pants, which counts, right? It's something. So that's like a little way that I've kind of taken back my control.
I love that.
And I've told my reps recently, I got booked on a commercial super last minute a couple weeks ago. It was the first commercial I booked this year. And the night before, they were booking everyone at 8 p.m. for like 8 a.m. call times. And it was a terrible turnaround. And my rep just didn't forward me the email that said, can you bring clothes? And I told her the next day, I was like, do you know I was the only one who didn't bring like a duffel bag clothes? She goes, yeah, I saw that. You don't need to be doing that. I was like, they get it. They're totally on my side. So, worst set story.
That's amazing.
One of the worst. Yeah, that's a piece. This is like the buildup, right? Like 13 years later, I'm like, I won't bring my own T-shirts.
Right, right.
It counts.
No,
It counts.
that's like feels like something I'd be even scared to like say.
Yeah.
And the fear is such a big part of it, right? Like
Yes.
things
'Cause it's
like
always
the clothes.
It's the looming of being like, I'm gonna lose this opportunity.
yes,
But
or
you're-
they're never going to
yes.
invite me back. I'm going to get blacklisted.
I'm
Yeah.
a diva. Well, I mean, I've been called that before, but like by someone who just was mad because I wouldn't go to some random place in Burbank for them to dye my hair bleach blonde because they needed it for a movie. That's a whole different. We can delve down that separately,
that
guys.
was amazing to hear.
But so I was on a set for something once, and it was the middle of nowhere. They had a scene where the character is moving through the space and she's changing clothes. And in it, my contract said like no nudity. And they weren't paying me nearly. This is a non-union movie. Not enough money to pay me.
not for this, right?
Nope,
No,
not for this. Nope. I was
No
like,
rate
I'm
for
going
this
to Halle
rec.
Berry this. You have to pay a lot of money. It has to be an Oscar movie.
And hell
Love.
yeah.
But now I'm like, I do it for like a good HBO show.
I would
Things
do it
have
for
changed.
not much.
Things have changed.
I think I'm on the vibe of a good HBO
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
I
like
will
it's
show 'em.
Euphoria spinoff. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
the-
some tasteful.
yeah, like there's a way to do if it's for the character. If there's a thing.
I'll just show anyone most of the time.
Yeah,
She's like, I'm gonna
actually-
do it right now.
Actually, pull down your pants.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
this is where you advocate for yourself.
Oh, sorry. I'll show you later.
See,
Nice.
and that's how you teach actors. No, okay. So I'm on the set, and the director is like, you know what? This is a one-track shot, and we need to follow you the whole time because there's like something appears behind me all of a sudden, and so we need to be with you the whole time. Is there any way you could just change clothes on camera?
No.
And this was on like day 4 of this set. And I was like, I'm really uncomfortable. Just so you know, I would prefer not to do that. And he was like, I don't really know if we have an option. This might be. And I was getting so uncomfortable. And at the time, I was in a really tough place with my eating disorder. And I was like, this is a big ask of me. And it was a huge deal. And I was like, but I don't want to put everyone behind. And I heard the DP heard him say that. And he goes, we can just track the shot. We can just leave the shot on the bathroom door and then track back. Like they just didn't have it prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, thank God. They didn't ask me to do it. They didn't ask me to do it. And I went up to the director and I said, that was a really awkward position that you put me in. And I would really, really, once things were safe and once things calmed down, I was like, hey, that felt really bad to me. And I'm sure it felt very simple to you, but it didn't feel good to me. And it put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate if you would not ask those kinds of things of me again because we have a whole movie left to shoot.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, great. 1 day later,
No.
hey, we have this bathroom shot and we're just wondering if you would feel comfortable like walking into the tub. And I was like, you guys, at this point I was so comfortable with these team. I was like, we can talk over here.
Yeah.
I pulled him aside, pulled the director aside and I said, you just told me you will not do this again.
Yeah.
And you guys, when you put someone in that position, he turned into a little boy.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was
Being
like,
I thought I told you no.
yeah, I had to mom. And I was like, you just told me that you would not do this to me. And he was like, I know, but, and I said, no. The answer is no. You have to figure this out without me doing that. That is not okay. And like, I had to get like mom legs.
Right.
And he became little boy. And it was, as soon as I removed it from being on the set, I was able to talk clear. We were able to have a discussion and it was like much easier to delineate and it didn't end up happening. And I was like, this is like, but I had to remove myself from the pressure cooker. I had to remove him. We had to talk one-on-one where there's no one around. And I think that's all you can do sometimes is just be like, who's making these decisions? Can I speak with them?
Gosh.
And there's going to be sets where you're on where like the decision maker is like Martin Scorsese and like you're not going to be able to pull him aside because he's in Video Village and it's like half a mile away.
Right.
It's like
Right.
you are where you are and you're going to do what you do. And you just have to decide like what is best for me in this.
But
And
good for you, Sam.
Good
That
for
is
you.
that is just honestly, I think it's inspiring because there's so many stories, and I'm sure there's so many people who, in that instance, they would have just been like, okay,
Yeah.
even though they didn't want to.
Big time. And I
Yeah.
feel like that was like a moment when you really got to like come around to this idea that it's like it's easy for us as actors to like you said, like take your shoes off and put them where they go or whatever and just like make nice and do what they say. But at the end of the day, it's like you hold the power.
Which is quite ironic,
Right?
isn't it? Like, it's almost like once you've gotten some accolades, then you get to start being the diva. But it's like before then, you have to be the opposite of that, where you accept everything that's given to you and I will make everything easier, and I'm going to make the day move as quick as possible because I want to be invited back to the set. Yeah. And then, like, maybe that's what breeds a lot of the diva that comes out on the other side, because it's a bunch of people who were super tired of doing so much bullshit that on the other end, they're finally like, you know, I'm not supporting that kind of behavior, but maybe that's where it derives from.
Yeah.
I always say that I think the most diva-ish people are the people that feel they have something to prove. The greats will oftentimes be like some of like, how many times have you heard like stories of people working with like big like stars and they're like, they were so great.
Yes.
Like an ex of mine did a movie with Meryl Streep, was one of the ADs, and literally they were like, she's amazing. She's the nicest person you could ever imagine in your life. And you're like, Meryl Streep has nothing to prove.
Yeah.
She has no reason to show up and make a scene.
Right.
Well, and
You
also
know?
when Meryl Streep asks for something on set, I'm sure she only has to ask one time.
Period.
Whereas
That's true.
if we ask for something on set, I don't think it's really provided.
Yeah.
And then we have to feel like, oh, well, I'm going to be a little pushy, but can I please I'm not comfortable in this wardrobe. Is there any way we can change it? And then you're being that person. And being a person who talks to actors all the time too, I do feel an extra pressure to advocate for myself in a lot of ways in which I might not have been comfortable fully for me, just thinking of how am I going to explain this to them?
Yeah.
Because I think about all of all the actors who I know who I talk to on a daily basis, and I'm like, we gotta do this as a team. Which is, you know, the basis of labor unions, and like, like that's the beautiful thing about that. But there's just it's all of us, right? It's all of us as a team. And if you talk to the other people on set, they agree with you. There's only a few people who ever make things tough, and it's a lot of the time it's because they're being put in a tough position.
Yeah.
I have to like figure out where the pressure cooker always comes from the top.
Yeah.
And then like how people filter it just comes out different.
Yeah. I had an acting teacher once tell me that if you want to be the best actor you can be on camera, get a job behind the camera. So in 2021, I did a full run of an HBO Max series as a PA.
How was that?
It was insane.
Can I ask what show it was?
Made for Love.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it was insane, you know, hot off the pandemic. Everyone was like, what the hell? How do we even make television right now with these protocols?
Oh, and you do all the masking and all the
The
COVID
masking
testing.
and the shielding and the distancing. And it was really crazy. We did like a lot of like on location stuff, like, but we were like in the TMZ. So it was like, we never like went, like, it was like, I was having to drive like from my house, like 29 miles away, you know, like just making it. And it was really crazy. And it really taught me a lot about how to be the best version of myself as an actor. Cause listen, now I've said the name of the show, so I will not say much more
Okay,
about
great.
certain-
Off camera.
Right. But it taught me like behavior and, you know, just like, what's the word? Like, I don't know, like how to be essentially when you're there.
Like etiquette.
Etiquette, that's the
yeah,
word. Yeah, exactly. And it also did teach me just what you were saying about, it's so funny how you'll see like the like TV show, the producers, the ADs, the directors, and whoever else, and they're over here and they're all going, and then they grab the lead actress and they go, hey, hi, how are you? Doing great. One sec. And then they come over and they're like, ah! Like, you know, it's like there's so much pressure that's like boiling down, like from like everything's so quick. I remember like always being like on my walkie-talkie and I'd be like, how serious is it? You know, like we're all just making television. But it's like every second is accounted for when you're making a TV show.
Yeah.
And or a movie, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it really, really taught me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a word that we've all been using so much is pressure, because there is so much writing on not only like when you're on set and you want to be, you know, invited back, when you want to do more work, auditions, there's pressure, like with all of it. Like how do you guys best deal with the pressure of acting, especially when it comes to success, right? Like I'm sure we all have our own goals, right? Maybe specifically like a genre that you want to jump into or a level of fame maybe that you'd like to reach. How do you best manage those expectations and that pressure?
Ooh, can you answer this first? Because you're on camera so often with your job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thank you for throwing it back to me too.
Thanks.
Thank you for throwing it back.
Yeah. Thank you for bending
Bunch
over.
of podcasters in here.
You know, honestly, I ask because I struggle. I have always been incredibly hard on myself. And, you know, I like to say that I'm hungry for success, but I act like I'm starving. I am so guilty of being like, you know, well, I did it, so that's not good anymore. It's not a cool thing that you got to do, you know, or like you'll reach that and it's not. I really struggle with giving myself credit, and then that makes it just that much more difficult when I have these high expectations for myself because it feels so far away. It feels like I'm creating this big gap, and I'm like, well, what I want is so far from me, and I want it, and I need it, and I don't have all that time, and so then I just end up like spiraling, you know, where I feel like I'm like, oh, time is running out, and all of these things.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, I really like the idea that there's a role for everybody, you know. I really like kind of reasoning. Multiple.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever think that one job is your last job.
Oh, no.
Totally.
Because we all think it.
Right. But it's like, it's exactly what you said, Ro, where like, you know, if the role was meant to be yours, it's not going to pass you. All you have to do is be you to receive it. And that goes for all the roles that you're going to have. So I like to remind myself that, and going all the way back to with comparison and competition too, it's just, it's such a waste of time. I think it's so much easier and better to enjoy other people's wins. And I really feel like I just try to lean into that with especially my friends. And honestly, like Ro is a really great example of that, who always does that for me. Like I feel like whenever I have a win, like Rowan's one of the first people I want to tell, because I know she's going to be like, and you deserved it. Like she's, you know, like I feel like I like to surround myself with a community of people who are going to lift me up like that. Yeah. Nobody who I'm going to feel like they start to like see my accomplishment and then they go, well, I guess I haven't booked. I guess I would really like to do that. Because then it ends up being like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Let me make myself smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
So personally, I still, you know, it's something I'm working on. But it's much easier when, like you said, I find other actors and I get to really invest and be like, I'm so happy for you and that is everything that you deserve. And I'm not going to look inward and now be like, why didn't I do that? It's hard.
Way to be that friend.
Oh, thanks. It's like there's no time in life to like tear people down because you like just like be happy for the people around you and then open yourself to abundance and then things will come.
Yes.
But that abundance mindset of knowing that like there's enough for everyone is really hard to execute.
Right.
It's easy to say, but then when it comes to like
practice.
watching someone, you know, get stuff, it's like, that's so great. Oh, I haven't been on a theatrical set in 3 years, you know, and to not bring it back to you, which is human nature.
It is hard. It
Yeah.
is.
I think I think I spent like a lot of time in my life being really, really hard on myself like all the time that it's like I said earlier, it's like it's not that I think I'm above it, it's that I'm just tired. So it's like it takes like a lot less energy to just be like, that's great. Instead of being like, I hate you. Like
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
It's just like okay.
I feel like I saw it a lot too in like high school when people were getting into like prestigious colleges. I saw so many people like negatively turn toward that and be like, well, why? How could they have gotten into Stanford? I don't even understand. Like I should be getting it. And it was just like, I hope that I never look like that. I hope that that's never the energy that I'm putting out there. You know, it's again, it's transparent when you're, you know, it's natural to maybe be jealous or envious of people, but to just be spreading that like I should be getting that instead of them.
Yeah.
Not good karma to be putting out there, I feel.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not. My mom always uses this phrase of a self-fulfilling prophecy and stuff, and she'll tell me to like visualize things and to speak kindly about like yourself, your others, and your future.
God, what a great mom.
She's great, but
Yeah.
because it's like, it really is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I feel like if you're just like spewing like that kind of like negative energy onto other people, like it just is gonna fire right back at you. But of course, it's natural to be jealous and stuff. I mean, I'm jealous all the time, but again, it's like I can't take my jealousy and hurt my own feelings.
Yeah. I also think you need one dump person. You need somebody in your life you can dump this shit on.
Yeah.
And we call it home jokes. We have certain things we say at home and they don't leave the house.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
like
totally
that.
safe.
It's nice.
That's fine.
Because you got to get it like out, or else because even if you're so excited for your friend, that's so awesome. I can't believe you booked that series regular. Like, I cannot wait to watch it. And then you can go to you need one person, and it's really helpful if they're not in the same business as you. And you can say, I really want to make this about me for a second. And then they give you the space to do it. And then you close the book and then you're done.
Yep.
Because I love a dump space.
Yeah.
Someone to go to who like, they won't think less of you.
Yep.
They won't judge you.
Yep.
Where you can just drop it all and you can have your gross days there and you can have your gross feelings and be like, can I just say real quick and don't say this to anyone? And then you do the thing.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, okay, great, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We always say, are we talking shit? Are we venting? Are we getting advice / giving advice? Or are we finding a solution?
Right.
Like that, like sometimes I go to her and I'll just be like, I just have to say this or
Right.
something. Or I'll be like, what do I do? Like, you know, it's
and we
like
put our phones on airplane mode and we talk shit.
Why do we
time?
always want to check the phone?
No, literally. Like anytime I am doing anything, I'm just like, let me just check my phone real quick and
Literally.
make sure I'm not on Instagram Live.
Yeah, or like let me check I didn't call someone
Yep.
when like have you ever talked about someone and then you look down and they've texted you and you're like, oh my god, I called them.
That's
I called
why
them
I don't
for sure.
wear my Apple
Apple
Watch
Watch.
anymore. I was talking too much shit and getting on the phone. I like literally, I used to do that all the time where I'd be like talking, and then there was one time, it was like someone I dated or whatever, one time where I was actually talking, and then I like looked and they had like, I had called her, and I was like, hey, nothing.
You know, I actually don't. Hey, nothing.
Hey, nothing.
It's a casual greeting.
Yeah.
I don't remember which friend this was, but a friend once in their high school, a girl had gone on Instagram Live when having sex with her boyfriend.
Oh my god, nightmare scenario.
And literally like the whole school saw and like everybody was on. I'm pretty sure it was on the news. Like that is like absolute worst nightmare. So, you know, in case you do get caught talking shit, there are worse scenarios out there.
One time I
Yeah.
did the studio tour at Universal, and one time I was giving the tour, and I literally called my freshman year of high school homecoming date, and that I haven't spoken to in like 10 years, and left a 12-minute voicemail.
Have you on tour?
Yes. So it's probably me like, you guys know about movies? Literally kill me.
He probably listened honestly to the whole thing.
And he didn't say a word. He didn't text me like, what's up? Like, I was like, period. Like, you know.
Oh, it was very obvious that it was like a butt dial.
Yeah.
Also, this is why at some point we all need to get a new phone number.
Yes.
Yes,
I like
because
that.
also, have you guys ever like thought about the previous voicemails that you have sent that are just out there that you have never been able to like track down or anything?
Marco Polo was a bad idea. That was it. We used to do that. Did you guys Marco Polo?
No, but my friend Luke told me about that.
What is Marco Polo?
It's basically like leaving each other, like, it's like a text message video. You send videos back and forth.
Oh, that's cute.
It's cute. It's really cute. I was a mess in college, and I drank a lot,
Oh,
and I needed to not, and I probably there's definitely like photos and videos of me like being ridiculous or like crying about some guy who never called me back, or like that are definitely on those apps for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just can't wait to get so famous that somebody I mediocrely liked 20 years ago sells them online.
And you know, actually, I heard this on another podcast. If you're not looking back on your past and cringing, you're not growing.
Period.
That's a great point.
So you're better already.
I heard
because
that on a
of those.
podcast I like called Spitball.
Yeah, did I say?
You did? Yeah.
Oh, I shared it before. Oh, nice. Yeah,
Great,
yeah,
great.
so you're growing.
Thank you so
So
much.
you're growing, congrats.
So you're growing. Anyway.
Good job, team.
So I think we have to kind of wrap it up, ladies, unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh, this has been really fun.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, Sam, we do something fun at the end of all of our episodes where we basically naturally we kiss.
We all kiss.
So
Great. You were getting naked earlier.
Oh,
so.
sorry.
we like to spitball about something, just generally going back and forth and like all answering something, which what we'd like to spitball is dream roles, dream characters, perhaps in the past that have already happened that you were like, ooh, I definitely could have loved to play this and I wish that I could have. And also, future things to come.
Okay, so we're just like having a chat.
We're just chatting,
Yeah.
just back and forth.
It's like, is this like a game?
Yeah.
Thing?
Just kind of spitball it once you have one.
I want to be in a period piece of someone who already existed.
I love that.
I want to study someone. I want to read about them. I want to become them. I want to cut my hair for them. I want to wear their clothes. I want to like the ultimate study.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
Fun.
Yes. I so relate to that aspect too of like months of studying.
Oh, can you imagine like taking time for something and not a 48-hour turnaround for a tape?
Right.
All I want to do is like invest in a character.
Or even just like training for something too. Like if I could like train for a role because they're like, hey, we need you to be like fit for this. I'd be like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's in my vision. It's in my like the manifestation of like my perfect day. The studio has always hired me a specific trainer for the next film. It's always
That.
I want
Yeah.
that. I want that.
Ro, do you have one?
Okay, yes. So first and foremost, let me say, like, I think like my dream role is like being the girl in like a really like disaster movie, like disaster, apocalyptic, whatever it is. I want to be like the girl who like when everything is happening and mass hysteria is like all breaking loose, I'm the girl who like pulls up in a Jeep and I'm like, get in.
You could
see that.
totally pull
I
up
just
in a
saw it.
Wait,
Like-
but in this outfit.
Literally, I want to be the one that's like, shut up, get in. Like
I saw it again.
This is the
sequel.
like I want to be like that person that's literally like, you dumb think I don't have this figured out.
I think you've done that outside of my house where you're like, get in.
Get in. So like that, but then I'm also like, my favorite movie is Bodies, 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 and
I haven't seen it, but
Oh, Sam, do
Amazing.
it.
Really?
So fun.
I love it. It's an
So
incredible
fun.
movie. And Rachel Sennett's character Alice, I like anything Rachel Sennett's doing. I really do.
I like this.
I
She
just
gives me a
saw
new
her.
person to look into.
Where?
At Matt's show. She was there.
Why wasn't I there?
Literally.
Would you have gone? Did you turn it down?
Why didn't I go?
You were at Sabrina Carpenter's concert.
That's a good reason to miss.
Yeah.
It's a very good
So I
reason.
saw Domingo. I didn't need to go see Matt because I saw Domingo.
It's pretty good.
How about
It's
you,
pretty
Rush?
good.
Okay, I think this is the first time that I've said this out loud, but I've believed it for a long time. I would like to be... Have you guys ever read Junie B. Jones?
Period.
Yes.
I would like to be Junie B. Jones
I like
in the
that.
live action movie.
That's cute.
I read literally all of the series growing up. I loved her so much. And I just am like, let's make her Indian and make it me.
I like it.
Like, she...
It's very on par with the current like zeitgeist. Is
Right?
that they would make her Indian, and there's no reason it shouldn't be you.
And there's zero talks about the movie, so I think I have time.
You should see who owns it
And call them.
Yes.
because people own those IPs. Like
Right,
Dora
right.
the Explorer is having her second movie right now.
If anybody who is in the Junie B. Jones IP, give it to me.
I love someone owns that.
Give it to me or cast me. I feel like I love it so much, so I would just love to play Junie B. Jones.
Well, Sam,
Great.
where can the people find you?
Plug it up.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
You're welcome.
This is so. I love when I like give you a compliment. You always say thank you. Like that is. Can we just like we've been working on this whole day, and you're just exemplifying it.
Oh my God, thanks.
I see.
She's just so grateful.
We're so proud of you because you don't make it small, you make it big. I am at Sam Valentine on Instagram. I am at the podcast is One Broke Actress. The YouTube is Sam Valentine LA, but if you look up One Broke Actress, I will just come up. If if you put in Sam Valentine, One Broke Actress just proliferates the internet. So
Yes.
I'm impossible to not find.
Absolutely. Yeah. Seriously, Sam, I really can't thank you enough. I am being genuinely serious when I tell you that I have listened to One Broke Actress. Like, it's just been so helpful and it's so great. So it is so cool to meet you and to have you on the pod. So thank you so much.
Guys, keep the podcast world alive.
Keep the podcast world alive. For all you ballers, though, we will see you next Monday. Definitely go check out Sam Valentine / One Broke Actress out there, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.